Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our panel. This is Building a Thriving Community with Discord. We are super excited. There are way more people than I thought were going to actually show up. So, oh my goodness. Hello. Hi, everybody. So I will introduce you to our intrepid panelists today, starting over here with Eugenia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Eugenia. I'm with Gen G as our Senior Education Partnerships Manager.
Hi, I'm Monica. I work at Discord, and I'm a Community Moderation Program Manager.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a content creator and a partner with Discord.
Hi everyone, my name's Mindy. I also work for Discord as Senior Manager of Community, and it's great to be here with you all today.
And I am your moderator. My name is Emily Hayes. I am a Community Manager at Discord, and we are super excited to have you guys here. All right, guys, so we have a little bit of technical difficulties, so you're going to have to bear with me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we are kind of going through today. When you're thinking about building a thriving community on Discord, there are a couple of different building blocks. So we have building your server and your team. So we have build, we have engaging your members, engage, we have growing your presence and your tools, that's the grow pillar, and then we have manage an amazing community, that is the final pillar in management. That is setting the stage for our discussion today, and we know that there are lots of different variances, lots of different communities out there with tons of different topics, but these are kind of the 4 different pillars that you can stick to when you're thinking about like, hey, how do I actually do this? Like, how do I go from having a server to a community? And actually maintaining a community beyond Discord too. All right, so with that, our intrepid panelists, I have a question for you. What is one myth that you would debunk about building a Discord server or community? Mindy, let's start with you.
Sure. I would say one of the myths that people think about Discord communities, maybe that it's a short-term project, but really with community building, you're in it for the long haul. So you want to think about this is a commitment to getting to know people and talking to them and caring deeply about their lives. You can't treat it like a content channel where you can just post once a day. Like, you really want to make sure if you're building a community, you're there to provide value to your members and get to know them, and it's going to be hopefully a multi-year long thing. So that's one of the things that I hear people talking about that I always like to make clear for community building.
Hell yeah. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, and actually I was going to say something very similar to Mindy, but it's also, you don't have to stick with like one game. You can have several different varying communities from different genres of games as well. So don't feel intimidated to do that. It's really nice because then you get to integrate and meet people from other communities that maybe you wouldn't have met before.
Hell yeah. What do you think, Monica?
I think a really big myth about having a community on Discord means that you have a really big server on Discord, and those things are pretty different in my mind. Like, you should be going for quality members that really want to interact with you and really want to interact with each other more than just a bunch of bots that only show up to steal your emojis. But, I think that having quality people there that are really intent on hanging out and making this a place to come back to helps make a server that other people want to join too.
And to follow up on that, I don't think the best moderators are always your number 1 fans or your most active members of your community. Sometimes you need to look for moderators who are community-oriented, have empathy, and understand that rules are sometimes meant to be broken, and are able to be creative in coming up with events and activations for your community. Your number 1 fan is the person engaging, but not always the right person to create.
Hell yeah. Sam, I know that you talked a little bit about like different kinds of topics for your communities. One thing I wanted to ask you was, how does your community's purpose factor into like how you build that like thing? I know there's different topics. Like, how do you go about building something from something that you love?
So regarding whatever game I might be streaming at the time, we tend to build our community up from there and have a specific section for that. So we had an Animal Crossing community, And we had like our dodo codes, you had QR codes that people could go in and post, and then you had ways for people to interact and figure out, hey, do you have this on your island, or things like that. And then I also do, Final Fantasy 14, and so now we have like looking for game channels and different varying topics that could go well with those specific games. So it's been really, really, really lovely. And I think that it keeps it nice and neat, and if people want to peek in on other areas, they can.
Hell yeah. Mindy, what do you think about purpose and community?
It's definitely one of the most important things to know why your members would join your community or your server. There's so many ways we can spend our free time now, and you've got to think about, why would someone come to your community over another server or watching TikTok or something else? So if you have a really clear idea of what the value, who is it for, what would they get from it, that will make it easier not only to find those people, but then how you can serve them and make sure that they're getting value. And that's also something that you can kind of figure out and build with your community as you grow. And if you find that your community isn't for everyone, that's okay too. Sometimes it's about who your community isn't for. And sometimes the most niche communities are the ones who are most passionate, because they're the ones where people struggle to find others like themselves. So don't be afraid to be niche with your community as well.
Yeah, we see a lot of different niche types of niche communities on Discord, on a lot of different community platforms. It's like that you are creating a space that, maybe somebody is looking for. Monica, what do you think about purpose with communities?
I think I really liked Sam's answer about how sometimes purpose can change. And when you're thinking about building your server, something really important is the rules and the flexibility with rules, like you said. And sometimes you kind of have to realize you might take a set of rules that is from a guide that says here are some basic stuff you should have for your Discord. But once you get to know your community and really know what they're interested in and what they're coming back for, you can sort of tweak those rules to match what your community wants, right? Say some communities, they just don't allow image sharing because they've had a bad run-in or they've had a hard time moderating that. Make sure that your community sort of matches that vibe and know what it is that they like to post and what it is that your purpose of your server is, and that your rules match that too. And I think that really helps everyone who's coming in to kind of sense oh, what is it like here? How should I be behaving? And setting the tone for everyone else. And I think that helps with purpose and finding the right kind of people to join.
I think it's okay if you're very deliberate with why you're creating your Discord, because your purpose and the tactics that you use to drive that purpose don't necessarily have to be one-to-one. So I was previously at a hardware company, and we had a Discord where we were focused on selling and promoting our products. We're encouraging people to look at our new sales. We're providing tech help if they're having any issues, and we're driving people to our website to purchase. I currently work at Gen G. We're a global esports team. So our Discord is about driving people to watch our teams compete and to be fans of our content creators. And, in the case of my work with the University of Kentucky and Eastern Michigan, we're building community safe spaces for students who were honestly affected by the COVID pandemic and weren't able to build communities on campus in person. So it's okay to be very deliberate and say, I have a purpose for this Discord. I need to drive a specific KPI. Let's find ways that make sense for the people that are in our community in a way that helps me too. I think Discords can be win-win with purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking that next step to kind of look at your users, look at what you're doing, see how their behavior affects what your community's like, and making those decisions to change, maybe it's you change the purpose of your community, how it's run, taking the time to have that creative one-to-one with your community is hugely impactful. When we think about that, speaking of members, I guess let's talk a little bit about engaging your members and having fun. So, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, can you explain what engagement is and why does it matter? Eugenia, you want to start?
At the base level, engagement are the number of people who are active in your community. And I think every company is going to define this a little bit differently. Some people think that lurkers who are reading a post, even if they're not chatting or replying to it, counts. And in other instances, you're looking for people who are emoting to every message, who are responding to everything. So I think it'll look a little different depending on your company's purpose.
Oh, yeah. Monica, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think when you're thinking about engagement, that also ties into what kind of server you want it to be. When I think of engagement personally, I think of how the server admins and the owners and people who are sort of well-known in the servers act, and then people take cues from that and how they're meant to engage with the server as well. So I think setting a good tone in that way really helps with sort of figuring out what it is that people come here for and why do they want to hang out. And engagement can look like people posting. I really love counting channels. I know some people think that that's really cheap engagement, but I love it when
Counting channels.
I love it when we can get to like a certain high number without doubling up. Like I love that. It's a rush of endorphins for me. So I'm super proud of counting channels. I'm glad that people have any way they can that they engage with the community and become a part of it. It's a win for me.
Yeah.
As somebody with a counting channel, it's great. And I also have a fish emote. It's a trout, and so I have a trout slapping channel. So
A
for
trout
people that I
slapping
see
channel?
who are active in my community,
Stop everything.
I'll slap them
Okay.
with a trout. Because we like it. Yeah.
Okay, so stop everything.
Oh, God.
What is a trout slapping channel, and how can I put a trout slapping channel in my community today?
No, I just got to see your name pop up here and there, and I'll be like, all right, I'm going to slap you with a trout today. It's not a mean thing, I don't think.
No, listen.
It's with love.
Listen, you acknowledge them, you slap them with a trout. It's a loving thing.
It is.
It's an intimate moment to be slapped with a trout, audience. We're stating that today, official opinion.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Some of my lawyers watching. Yeah, but I like that kind of engagement too, where it's like silly fun and it doesn't feel like you have to be in there for anything more than having a good time with your friends. And like I was saying, I have varying different communities in mind, so not everybody is for everybody, but we have ways to bring ourselves together. You know, you got your pet channels. Everyone loves to see your pets. We've got ones if you want to show yourself or art or things like that. And I think that it shows how unique everybody is in your community, and you can find more people within your community who are like-minded towards you in those situations as well. So, yeah.
Mindy?
Still thinking about the trouts. Sorry, but yeah, definitely.
I'll get you later. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
hit me up. Yeah, one of the things if you're trying to get into more professional community building is this, you can Google, it's called a commitment curve. So the idea is that, you know, if your ultimate end goal for like a real super engaged member of your community, maybe you want them to be a moderator, or maybe they would lead events for you, but that's going to take a long time. If that's like one of the biggest asks you're going to make, that's going to take a long time, and you can get there, but they might start off with joining a server. You know, even joining your server or your community is a type of commitment. You know, it's already an intent, like I'm showing up, I like you, I want to check it out, and there's nothing wrong with having people who are just lurking. You know, I think that's another myth I would debunk is lurkers. If they're getting value reading your updates, just observing the community and absorbing it, that's A-okay by me. And then having counting channels, which is where you're just trying to count the highest number possible, you know, easy ways to just kind of like test the water. So having channels that are different levels of energy, I guess, to like to put into them are a great way to kind of get people feeling comfy, because especially if you have like a tight-knit community, it can be hard to break into that if you already have in-jokes and references, and sometimes that can be even harder to break into. So thinking about, you know, the commitment curve, the different stages that you want people to get to as they become more engaged. When we say engaged, really we just mean talking to each other and hanging out and having a good time. So I think it sounds like a scary word, but that's ultimately what you're trying to get people to do is connect and talk.
Yeah. You know, it can be, especially if you have like a community that's been going for a while, it can be hard for a new person to kind of like step in. Like think of your community as like a party. Like if you were to introduce someone to the party and they didn't know how to get in, or they didn't know like who to talk to, like how would you help them out? It's like a kind of a daunting thing if you're a new user or just a new addition to a community. All right, we kind of talked a little bit about this with the county channel and the trout slapping channel. But like, is there a favorite thing that you guys do in your communities to get people kind of like comfortable and acclimated? Like, how do you help them get in and make new friends and get settled? Monica, why don't we start with you?
I think one of my favorite communities that I joined is actually it's a dice making community. As with everybody, I've gotten into like a lot of pandemic hobbies, and one of them is making resin dice, like for like tabletop and stuff. And this dice making community I joined, it's kind of intimidating to come in there because everyone is like leagues ahead of you, and they've got all these resources, and there's lots of channels with information. But one thing they did that really stuck with me is how they engaged new members is they had sort of like a training channel. So if you're in a server that's based around a hobby, they had a lot of people who were sort of master dice makers, and they would host like lessons for new people, journeymen, to come in, like apprentices. So they had that sort of system in place for anyone who was new to the hobby or really just wanted information on a specific technique. And I think while that's very specific to like dice making, you could apply that sort of idea of having a built-in purpose event for new members to come in and learn from all the other people that are already there. And that was a really fun thing, and it let me get to know lots of the regulars in the community. It was really cool.
Okay, Eugene, what do you think?
I'm insanely proud of our Horangi bot in our Genchi Discord. We created our own bot that helped us take the metrics that we care about, the purpose for our Discord, and convert that into a fan support system. So based on your level of activity in the Discord, whether it's chatting, attending events, being helpful to other members, we award you points. And as you move up the ranks with your points, while all of our opportunities and giveaways are open to everyone, you earn more giveaway chances or more cool opportunities. But I think the bot allows you to award people based on the things that are important to your purpose. And that's one of the great things about our Discord.
You guys developed a whole bot to do that?
Yeah, and the mascot, our mascot's the Horangi, which is the Korean word for tiger, which is our Genji mascot. So you guys should all check it out in our Discord.
Damn. That's such a good idea. Mindy, what do you think?
I was thinking while they were talking, one of the ways to like set the tone and encourage people as well is a houseplant server I'm a member of, and they have a plant shame channel. So it's where you just post pictures of your dead plants, because I feel like if you love houseplants, you love to show them off when they're thriving and healthy, but you never share all the plants that you've killed along the way. And so having a space to like just be open about all your plant failures made me feel like this would be a space where I could be myself, and it was okay that I've killed more plants than I've kept alive. And the other thing that came to mind, similar to what they mentioned, but having, rituals, routines, Monday night's games night, and for an hour we'll play games. So I think that's a way too, if people are kind of wanting to jump in, if they see people are in voice, see you're playing a game, that can be a great way to kind of get them to take that leap of faith and start building connections, because we know that when you're in voice, the bonds that you make are, they're strong, because you actually realize there's a human behind the username, and that's often how, best friends are made that way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Game stuff aside, I'm also in a lot of D&D and TTRPGs. And so community members who are new will come in when I'm like in another season. And so what we'll do is we'll do like a rewatch of an entire prior season or something, and I'll give them like schedules. We're like, okay, we're gonna do it this night at this time from these hours. And it allows them to get in, and so they're integrated now into the same storyline that everybody else is a part of. So that's really, really fun for me, that I've enjoyed
Hell yeah.
getting people in, and they get to know our little characters we create. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh. You gotta invite me. I need to take a look at that. Thank you. Just let me an invite after this meeting, I called it a meeting. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to our meeting, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our meeting.
Who's taking notes?
We need to talk.
Yeah. Oh, he's taking
right
notes.
there. Thank
Hey, send those to me afterwards. I need to, I
We
gotta
gotta give
report
to the
that out.
boss.
We'll email them. Yeah.
Please don't actually give us your emails. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to email people. All right, so like in the kind of vein of engaging your community, as you start to engage them, your community begins to grow. And that's fantastic. That means you're meeting like-minded people. You're getting out there. You're doing it. So like, that can kind of be somewhat of a tricky thing though. Growing your community takes time. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So we have a couple of people up here, of course, wonderful, wonderful people. And I would love to ask you, like, what is one method that everyone should know to be able to grow their community? Mindy, why don't we start over there with you, the senior community manager?
I think some basic things that maybe people forget is just having the link really available. So wherever people are going the most, Twitter bio, pinned tweet, twits, just make it really available, because there's nothing worse than having to dig around, making sure that invite link is up to date. I think so many times I see a fantastic community I want to join, click the Discord link, and the invite link has expired. So make sure you are regularly, doing housekeeping of your invite links. And then lastly, make sure it's available in the server. Sometimes I'm in a really cool server and I want to invite my friends, and it's, hunting around to find the link. So I think best practices is just making sure that all that is up to date, and then don't be afraid to mention it. I think sometimes as community managers or creators, self-promotion is hard. You're kind of putting yourself out there, but I think you have to hear things 7 times before it actually sinks in. So if it feels like a lot to you, it probably doesn't feel like a lot to the people you're talking to. So mention it frequently, and if you can also mention it with why they should join, like, hey, join my Discord because we do X, Y, and Z there, and I think, we'd love to have you. Kind of, again, treating it like your local cafe where you want to hang out with people, or a party is a great way. And then the last thing I'll mention is that, as your server grows, revisiting, how new users join would look very different when you have 10 people versus 100 or 1,000. You'll want to have different systems set up as you get bigger. So every couple of months, just maybe even try and join your own community as an outsider and see what it's like, because you might discover things that have broken or confusing along the way, especially right now as Discord is growing, and your server might be the first Discord experience they've ever had. So make sure that it's simple and easy to get through if you have different permissions and different channels to visit.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best answer.
Oh, how do you grow yours? What do you do?
That. But in simpler terms, what I do is a lot of streaming. So whenever I'm live on Twitch, and like if there's somebody that asks, hey, can I post a link? My bots like to fight each other, and it's the first thing I tell you is please post it in Discord or you're going to get banned. And so it leads people there, but I also make it very aware. My Discord's open for everybody. You're welcome to join in. Like, it's not for a specific community, for a specific person. And then I let them know, like, we have varying things in my Discord, so it's not also just for one thing or one group of people, just so they know what they're getting themselves into first and foremost. But yeah, you have to repeat it a million times as well, which I don't mind. I've been doing this 7 years. I'm used to it. But yeah, so talk about it a lot and inform people of what they're going to get into before they get into it, so that they don't have to search around for a way to find their footing in your Discord.
Regina, what do you think?
So from a corporate perspective, I think people join corporate Discords because they have questions about what your company stands for and means. So we actually require that all of our Gen G staff members and players and coaches and support staff are in our Discord. So when new members are joining, they see that our CEO Arnold is answering questions in our Discord and that we are approachable people. And they want to know that I'm not just getting help on this keyboard that broke from random keyboard fan, but instead the support technicians are in there helping me with my specific problems. So I think on a corporate perspective, it's important that you are there and present for your community, that you're not just outsourcing it to moderators who are fans of your community. And I mean, you guys didn't toot your horn large enough, but Discord does a really great job of the second point, which is you need to externally market your Discord. I think the Discord Twitter, if you guys are not following it, it is the funniest Discord Twitter it's the funniest Twitter in the world. And not just that, but they have 20 social media managers, maybe even more now, who are actively responding to pretty much every @Discord. I bet if you all did it right now, they would be responding and saying, say hello to our panelists at PAX. But you have to be present on other platforms to drive people. Discord's great for internal, but discovery is still something that's new to a lot of people. So you have to make sure to drive people from other social channels. They paid me to say that.
Yeah, we paid her a nitro. I think I guess to round it out, sorry, Emily. I would say, and this feels like weirdly counterintuitive, maybe not, but like if you want to make your server a place that is bigger, you want people to come to it, you should make it so that when they hop in, that everything is like watertight. Like think of it like you're running a ship, right? You don't want to land on the ship and the ship is full of holes and is already kind of sinking. You want to make your Discord a place that people feel welcome and safe in when they show up from the get-go. You don't want it to be sort of like a hostile landing environment full of people who say like, oh, we got a new person, got to shower them with all these memes that they don't understand. Like, I think like I've said this maybe 4 or 5 times now, but I'm really an advocate for making the people that are maybe regulars in your community or people that are in charge of welcoming folks, like know that like we're not going to overwhelm this person who's going to come in. Like I don't know how many times I've hopped into a random Discord because someone said, oh, they got a cool thing going on, and I show up and either no one greets me and I'm like, that's fine, that's okay. Or I show up and I get inundated with so many pings that I get like scared off. I'm like a cat. I'm like, oh, you came too close, you know?
You've done it now.
You've done enough, right? It's kind of like when you're in a Twitch chat and the person like points you out as a viewer even though you haven't said anything. And I get really, really turned off by that kind of thing. And I think other people do too. So I think it's about striking a balance when you get new members in and making them feel like they're invited but not too invited, and then that'll help your server grow, and you know the word will come out that like your place is a good place to be, that people don't get freaked out when they join in. So I think that's something I think about when I think of growth and keeping that growth too, and keeping those people who come in.
Yeah, there's a difference between saying like, hi, welcome to the school, versus, hi, welcome to the school, you're a new person, here's a digital wedgie. There's a big difference. So make sure, you're being friendly, but like, don't get too in depth on them. They're just joining, man. They're just here for a good time.
Trout Slap. You're getting digital wedgies.
The tuna slap is done. We're only giving wedgies. On that, so kind of really building off of that, how do you introduce somebody to the culture of your community? They just walked in the door. How do you make sure that they are speaking the same language or getting in on the same things or feel like they can even start? Mindy, what do you think?
A couple things that I've seen done really well in the past is even having a glossary channel, like a read-only channel that just has terms if your community has, really deep lore or in-jokes. Something too is milestones throughout time. So maybe if your community has done a fundraiser or something hilarious happened live on stream and people will reference it or share GIFs, having that kind of glossary just to help people catch up and feel like they're part of the in-joke is a great way to start. Not the wedgie thing, I agree. I think some people have welcome wagons, so you can assign people a role if they volunteered or opted in to be someone who, likes to greet people and help them show around. I think it just really depends on how in depth you go. I've seen people even record videos or have walkthrough guides, where you unlock different access to the server, the more familiar you get. So I think it's just how advanced you want to make your Discord server, but it's nothing wrong with starting simple, starting small and building it from there. And also, looking at what other people do. Why look at servers that maybe you admire and try and unpick what they're doing that's working for them and maybe how you can copy it, because there's no harm in copying what other people do well and reinventing the wheel if you don't need to. So I spend so much time looking at Discord servers and seeing what they do well. And I think an introductions channel is never a bad thing, to have either, just a chance for people to say, hi, this is where I'm from. Maybe you can have some prompts saved that they can fill out, and then there's kind of that shared language straight away. And then you might be like, oh, you're based there? I grew up there, and you're off to the races chatting already, and that's always what you're trying to achieve, is to get that point where they have something in common. How did you discover your content? Maybe that could be an opening question, and have a question of the day or a question of the week that you ask everyone, and then you start to see patterns. Sorry, I could ramble about this stuff for a while, so I will.
Your answers are golden every time. But for me, a lot of it actually comes from my moderators. So my mods are dope. I love them. But they're really good at greeting new people because they know that I've been, on stream greeting people for 8 hours, and they're like, we got this, Sam. And then everybody feels welcome because they know they're also fellow community members. So as long as like your moderation or the community members who are really close knit with you already know what you're trying to make of this community so that everyone's on the same page, it goes in that direction. Like it's a good flow. So we usually will do a little spam of the hi emote so that it's not too overwhelming. And then as they chat and they find their footing, we also have a channel. You get your straight rules right away of what this Discord will expect, do's and don'ts, as well as a bot where you can assign a role so that you don't join my Discord and you're not overwhelmed with 500 channels, but instead if you click a certain role, it'll open that section for you. So if you're not interested in Minecraft content, but you want to look at the Sims content, then you just check on the Sims and Animal Crossing, and usually just those two. So it's really helpful, so it's not overwhelming, and I think that that's a good way to smooth yourself in.
Oh, yeah. What do you think?
I'm going to steal from y'all two's previous answers. I really like that idea, and I think it's a good one. Whenever I see a server that has like an archive of like the cool things our server has done, because it helps that person see what the server's about, what the events will look like previously, and what it takes to join them, and if you're interested in just the stuff that the server has to offer. I also really like when you join a server and you can figure out how people talk to each other through a lot of servers I join have this thing where they have like a meet and greet every couple of months or so of like people who are newer to the servers, and this is I think especially helpful for larger community servers where it can be kind of intimidating to join and where people talk a lot, and this tends to happen in sort of very like fandom based communities because they always want to talk about the newest thing that's happening, and they already have a lot of like community-wide like theories and jokes, and that can be really difficult to get your feet wet into. You don't want to like throw them in the deep end, and to get a feel for how people discuss content and how people feel about discussing the thing that the discourse is about. It's good to have a sort of a mix of veterans and a mix of new people have built-in purposeful opportunities and events to get to know each other, and I think that really helps when it comes to getting to know what it's like and how you should be behaving in the server. That kind of thing, yeah.
And personally, I believe in the really robust rule set so that everyone is on the same page about what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, and making sure that even if somebody is a returning member or a super fan or maybe even your top 1% of spenders at your company, that they are being treated the same way as all of your new members who are coming in for the first time. And having that rules and roles channel listed when you first walk in makes sure that everyone's on the same page, and I think that can really help level the field for people who are coming into a new space to know that they're being treated fairly.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those things of like hierarchizing, I don't even know. Hierarchizing like your community is kind of a sticky thing to do. Like if you're looking at uplifting people, like making sure that it feels good, making sure that like new members see like somebody and they're like, I don't know how you got there. Like you're all the way up there and I just started here. Like making sure that path is pretty clear and showing them how they can be more involved, be like part of this friend group. Like if it's too hard to get there, people are just gonna go, well, I can't ever see myself there, so I might as well just bounce. And that sucks. Nobody wants to feel like they can't move forward or they can't be part of a group. So making it easy, it's just, I don't know, it's just cool. It's just a cool thing to do. I don't have a better like phrase for that. All right, so one of my favorite topics as community manager is management. And these are just like, this is, I think, a pretty tough thing to do, like no matter what your experience is. But how do you make a positive community? There's a lot of cruddy places on the internet. There's a lot of cruddy communities. How do you make something that's positive? Eugenia, can you tell me a little bit about how you do that?
I mean, my brand is Happy Eugenia, so I always try to be the happy, positive person, and when I see something that's a little bit negative, just nip it in the bud. And when I say nip it in the bud, a lot of people go to the extreme and say, okay, that person is being kind of mean. Let's kick him from the Discord. Let's ban him. Let's make sure he's never back here. But sometimes people have bad days. So what I like to do is I like to say, hey, I see this conversation. I'm not very happy with it. So we're going to change the topic and just tell me your favorite breed of dog or some very safe question. It doesn't matter the topic of the question that was happening before that people were fighting about, but sometimes you can create punishments for people without actually punishing them. And I think that that helps create a really positive space where you just see this is not an acceptable topic, take it to DMs and let's just switch off to something mundane.
Yeah. Monica, what do you think?
I think managing your community is probably going to be the hardest thing you're going to do as your community grows. It's easy to get people in the door and to get them like communicating and that kind of thing, but it's hard to make them want to stay if the place that you've built is not appealing or safe, right? I think one thing that gets overlooked a lot is sort of the quality of your moderators. Those are the people that are in charge of your server, right? They set the tone, they set the mood, and it can be really hard to discipline those people if they're not like the best people, right? Because sometimes someone is good in the beginning, and as your server grows and changes, their ideals and then the way they operate might not align with the way you want your server to actually be going, and it can be really hard to let go of someone who's put that much into your community. But don't be afraid to do it if it feels like you guys are going in separate directions. And I think that's something that I think some communities can struggle with, because it's like, how do I balance my personal relationship with this person who's put a lot into my server when they're not being the best for the server, and best for the community for that matter. So I think that's one thing to really keep in mind, is it's really hard to maintain the balance of interpersonal relationships with folks who may not be the best fit anymore. And you're gonna have to let them go, and it's gonna suck, but you're gonna have to do it. And that's, I suppose, like my biggest asterisk, management is hard thing.
Sam, what do you think? How do you make a positive community?
It starts from my stream. So the community that I cultivate while I'm live streaming is the community that has followed into Discord. But like I said earlier, my moderators do a lot. And a lot of things that they do behind the scenes are never shown, but they're always available to anybody who's like, hey, I need to talk to a mod. They at the mod role, and one of them will message them and be like, hey, what's going on? So that they can keep things private, because they never want to ever out anybody or make anybody feel uncomfortable, because even if it's not about you, sometimes it's awkward, like reading a situation between another person and the moderator, or two people and the moderator's trying to help. And they will also, if it's a community member that has been around for a while and they've seen how they interact with others, they will make sure they interact with them the way that they communicate, because you never want to go at every single person the same way, because not everybody hears the same way. So it's important to make sure you get to know your community in that way, and it's a part of management as well. It's a lot, but that's why if you have a really cool team behind you that are willing to do that as well, then it makes it a lot better. So that's a lot of what we do.
Hell yeah. Mindy?
Well, the panelists have nailed it. Just to kind of build on what they were saying, thinking about moderators, if you're noticing moderators are, perhaps not behaving how or representing your community as you would want, you can always just maybe hey, kind of noticed you're maybe burnt out or got some stuff going on, you want to take a couple months off, that can also be a more approachable way, and rotate people, because it's not easy or pleasant work. It's often thankless. So recognizing that maybe people have stuff going on at home, they just want a break, but they might come back a couple months later, revitalized and ready to represent your community, which is wonderful. So many times in my experience, one person can change the vibe of your community completely.
Yes.
You think that one person couldn't, even if it's millions of people, one person can if they are pushing the rules or in that gray area. So I think, if I look back, I wish I had been stronger. Trust your gut, and when you see someone towing or pushing and that's eroding maybe the space that you want to create, reach out to them soon and try and put a stop on it, because once other people see that's kind of accepted, other people might not feel welcome anymore. If that's not what you want, then reach out to them, DM them, and just be like, hey, a couple of things I've noticed have been, no action, no warning, nothing official, nothing scary, but just wanted to reach out and let you know that, you know, going forward, I am gonna maybe look at this kind of stuff out. So, yeah, just trust your gut. Like, at the end of the day, this is your space. That's the most important thing. If it's not what it's for, it's not what you want in your community, that's completely within your rights to ask them to change their behavior, or hey, plenty of other communities out there, maybe this one's not for you. Come back in a month, or maybe that's it, goodbye. And that's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, and you may not be the most extroverted or confrontational person, but you know, when you're creating and leading a community, those people are kind of looking to you. Like, even though it may be scary to take that step and say, like, this is not okay, like, this is not something that I allow, like, you're that person. You're the person that they're looking towards, especially if you're building, like, a fantastic moderator team. Moderation's like the lifeblood of safety on your server. Like, they're looking to you, too, to set the tone and to say, like, this is not okay. And it's both the joys of creating a community, but also there is obligation that comes there, and that's okay too. You should feel empowered to be that person. And on that kind of note, I want to talk about how you make a safer community. We are lucky enough to have Monica here today to talk a little bit more about like safety, but like I'll talk to our other panelists first on like how they kind of like go about this. Eugenia, can you talk me through like how do you make sure that the people on your server are safe?
I always start with a really, really robust rule system and make sure that we
Yes.
start really, really strict, right? I've even started some Discords that ended up having 100,000 people in it, but we started with no external links. So you cannot drive people outside of Discord because people can spoof links all the time. We have those phishing problems with free Discord nitro codes. So no one was allowed to post external links. But as people became more safe, people started self-policing themselves and correcting people. Hey, no external links. We loosened up that rule and we said, okay, on Fridays, we're gonna do Music Friday. You can post YouTube links. And if nobody took advantage of that, we might start allowing Reddit links or other platforms. So I always choose to kind of like training your dog, be very, very strict. No eating in the bedroom, no sitting on the couch. You're not allowed on the bed with muddy paws. But over time, as you trust your dog and, the dog grows older and more mature, you might let them cuddle on the couch with you. So always start strict, keep your community safe, and allow them to self-police and give them a little bit more leash when they have that kind of set in place.
All right. Sam, how do you create a safer community?
I mean, aside from everything that I've already mentioned, just one little thing that helps it make it a little bit safer, because I am more of a family-friendly creator, we don't allow nickname changes, and I know that that's not a thing for everybody, but people tend to sometimes change it to things that may not be appropriate because they think it's funny to get a rise out of a family-friendly community. So that is a way that we keep that safe. But of course, if a username is different from a Discord name and they would like us to change their nickname to their Twitch name so we know who they are, we're all for that. But having that control is just adding a little bit more of that security to make sure that not only I'm going to be okay, but everybody in my Discord's going to be okay. So.
Mindy?
I think even before I worked for Discord, I had to build a Discord server, and one of my fears was, it's 24/7 in nature. People are going to be talking all the time, and who are they going to be? And it was pretty scary. But I think I'd recommend looking into bias, I know, but the features that Discord has built in natively, and spend some time kind of digging around server settings, because there's a lot that you can do if you want to really have the highest security possible. That makes it pretty robust, and I even know servers that maybe turn on read-only mode, overnight, or if you're going away on vacation. It's nothing wrong with just kind of like hibernating it for a while so you can make sure that your space remains safe if you're not able to be there. So I think just researching around, taking advantage of what's already built in, and then as you get more accustomed, you can add additional layers of security with bots and things like that. But just start with what's there, and it's not as scary as it seems.
Monica, I want to talk to you specifically.
You want to talk to me?
Yeah, I want to talk to you.
Okay.
Hey, yo.
You want to talk to me?
Hey.
Sure.
Nice
Hi.
hat.
Thanks. Nice hat. Okay, what's up?
How do you go about creating a safer community? What would you tell people at home about creating a community, making it safer, and what do they need to know?
I think I've worked at Discord for almost three years, several years now. And I've worked with a lot of communities. And weirdly, the biggest thing to me is that people don't use all of the resources they have to their advantage. Like at your fingertips, there are many, many bots. There's a lot of articles, like thousands and thousands of words out there and pictures written of how to keep your server safe. But even the most basic, don't click on this weird link, is just flies over people's heads sometimes. So I think if it feels like it's super complicated to keep your community safe, you might be overcomplicating it. Like step back and see, what is the thing that is targeting my community the most, figure out how to fix it and then address it. And then if there's something else, you go on to that problem. Like if it feels overwhelming, it's because it might be, but you can take it piece by piece and figure out, okay, what is it that I need to do to keep the needs of my community safe? Like you can tailor your approach to safety to the community that you're running and to the community that you're building. In some servers, people might be of a younger crowd, so they might be more vulnerable to like really easy phishing scams. In other servers, it might be that they're targeting them through DMs, saying like, maybe you're in a game dev server, a lot of people might be getting, hey, test my game DMs. Like you need to keep yourself informed of like the new sort of attack vectors out there, because scammers are rampant. But you can also keep your server members aware of it too. Knowing the problem yourself as a mod is one thing, and as an admin, but also telling that problem to everybody so they know to look out for it. It might feel hard because you might be admitting that like, oh, we have, something to address in our server, but it's way more worth it that you're transparent and you let people know to like watch out for something than to feel embarrassed that you even have to address it in the first place. So I think just keeping yourself informed and aware and being intentful when you're making a server, that you're basically making the space for these people to be informed yourself on like what's going on is a really big thing. Also, don't be afraid to tell people just block someone who's bad. Like it'll feel bad, it'll suck, but also a lot of problems I know from like firsthand experience, like answering people's tickets and questions, just block them. You'll save so much time and stress and issues and pulling it out. Just block them. They're not great for you. You're not meant for each other. And that's my biggest tip. Block someone you don't like. That's it.
Block them.
Block them.
What are they going to do? They're blocked. Block them. All right, I got one last question for you guys, and then we'll take a couple of audience questions if y'all are down. Everybody good? Hell yeah, thumbs up. I got thumbs up. Woo! All right. Really quickly, guys, I'm going to start with Eugenia. Can you tell me why your community is important, or community just in general, on and off Discord? Why is it important? Why does it matter?
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm lonely, and my community makes me feel very seen and safe and wholesome. And I just love having people around me that have the same value set as me. And I think that a lot of people are looking for that. So that's why I think community is really important.
Monica, what do you think?
I look forward to nothing more every day than coming home and sitting in front of my computer and opening Discord. It was already open because I work there. And talking to my friends, like closing my work server and then opening my community server and being like, hello, everybody. Because connecting with people that are so far away from you, but having them feel close, there's nothing like it. Like I've been in internet communities all my life, and Discord is just one of the best ways. And I know I'm company shilling time a little bit, but like I love being able to connect with people in a safe and safe and I don't want to say productive, but a safe way that I know that like I know what I'm expecting, right?
Yeah.
Like I know what I'm coming into, and I love seeing the same faces every day. I love seeing new faces, and I think making that space wonderful for everyone else who wants to join in is my big thing, my big favorite.
Heck yeah. Sam, why is community important?
I love people. I really love people. And it's nice being able to wake up in the morning and say good morning, and then you've got like everybody else saying good morning, because it's such a great start to your day. And being able to share and celebrate other people's achievements and accomplishments, or be there for them when they're feeling low, it means a lot. And I've made some of my best friends just by hanging out in Discords. So community means a lot, and I hope that your communities just bring you happiness too.
Yeah, Mindy?
Oh, God, I'm going to tear up on a panel.
Cry.
Here, I have water.
Oh, thank you, yeah. For me, community makes life worth living and makes just life more enjoyable. I've seen communities save lives. I've seen communities enable lifelong friendships, romantic relationships. It's truly why I love getting to go to work every day. I've been doing it for over a decade. I think when you hear stories about people who perhaps grew up in difficult circumstances, friends or family didn't share their passions and are able to connect with people anywhere in the world that share that same interest, and realize that, internet friends are real friends as well. And I think Discord can help that feel more real and you're more closer to the people behind the username. So that's what means the world to me, and I think this is why PAX is so great, because you get to sometimes meet up with people who you've been talking online with for years, and you get to hug them, and then when you go back to your own spaces and you're chatting online again, it just feels even more special, and those bonds are even stronger. So I'm an introvert, and I think Discord is a great way to feel social and make new friends around things that you really love, and even if doing it in person can be harder sometimes. So I'm a big fan.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys. If you all are down, we've got some mics on the floor. We can talk to you a little bit about your questions. We'll just take a couple because we've got like 5 minutes? Where's the big sign? Yeah, I see it. All right, awesome. So we'll take a couple of questions.
And you can come to the
Hello,
Discord.
sir, in the fantastic
Yes, hi.
suit.
I'm Jeff with Esports Circus. So my question for you is, I don't have time to manage my servers, and I've been trying to find someone to take over the manage my servers. And what I'm looking for is maybe some suggestions on metrics of what I should look for a person to take over. I've been on like Fiverr and different platforms, and I can do this, and I get bothered, but I have no idea who to hire, how to hire them, what to look for to have someone manage and take over my Discord channel.
Monica?
I think you know your server best, right? And you know like the familiar faces that you see around there. I think one of the best ways that you can recruit a mod or someone interested in helping out your server is to just ask, right? Like hold applications and then kind of judge the kind of people that come in and want to apply, and then figure out like why do they want to apply. Ask them like, oh, how long have you been in the server? Like if you've seen a familiar face around, sometimes those people are the best people to run your server because they already know what's up, what the rules are. I think those people they make for some of the best mods because they already know what's up, right? And they also want the server to thrive because it's somewhere they go to a lot. So if you hire people and you find mods that sort of align with your server's vibe and have been there and are already community members, that'll take the load off of you of having to keep an eye on it 24/7.
There may even be people in this room, because sometimes community management is a new profession, and sometimes people might be wanting to do it part-time or take their own personal experience professionally. So I think this is a great chance as well to recruit people, potentially.
Heck yeah. If anybody's interested.
He's hiring.
Hey. Hello. What's your question?
Being a Twitch creator, sometimes you think something's a good idea until you look at the numbers, and at the time you did it and you realize it wasn't a great idea. Then you do something you weren't quite interested in and you look at the numbers, you're like, man, people really enjoy doing that. Discord, there's really no way to do that. We can't see what people enjoy, what people don't, what people click on. Is there a plan to release something like that so we know that our community is growing?
We can't talk too much about things in the works, if they are in the works. But I can tell you that on Server Insights, we do have something that is called your engagement channel. If you click on that, it actually shows you which channels, especially if you're like Sam and you have different kinds of like gaming channels, it can show you where people are engaging and saying like, hey, people are talking a whole lot in this channel, or they're hopping into this voice chat. It shows you like, okay, here is a demonstration of like this pattern of behavior. And maybe you say like, oh, this channel over here isn't actually doing so hot. Like, for example, if you have like a wedgie channel, I'm just gonna say it, and it's not doing so hot, like you can say, I want to let this go. Like, that's fine. You can make that decision. Use these insights to your advantage to say, similar to how you curate your content, curate your community and say, I don't want this anymore. It's not performing. What do you think?
No, yeah, that's actually really good.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, use your engagement stuff, and don't be afraid to change things up. It's your community, it's your content, and you want to make sure it's curated to what makes you happy, because everybody else can see when you're happy, and hopefully that helps you out until, who knows, maybe Discord will bring something else out.
All right, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Come on up. What's your question?
Hi, my question is, with concerning the people who use your service, a large majority of them are content creators, organizations, things of that nature. On Thursday there was a panel about cybersecurity, and one of the panelists, being a content creator, mentioned how one of the largest concerns is privacy and being secure while being so vulnerable on the internet. Mm-hmm. And so the topic came up about the current tooling in keeping safe on the internet, and I've noticed that you talked a lot about moderation. And not to say that the talented engineering team at Discord, who I had the pleasure of meeting at this conference, isn't doing enough, but I was wondering if there's any sort of roadmap on providing more security tools for the content creators other than moderation. I know that you can't talk about things that are in the works, but do you have like some sort of roadmap or anything like that?
Yeah, so I work on our community moderation team, and we work on more than just content and like written things for moderation. We also work with some of the engineers that are working on moderation tools and safety tools in general, and that's definitely been something that we have top of mind. We have things planned in the future to do with, and some of them have already rolled out, right? Like we already are scanning for like bad links, and a lot of the times some of the spam that's come up and is pretty prevalent in some places, we're starting to hit it before it even gets into people's inboxes, right? So that's one of the things that we've done to kind of tackle this big problem. I think spam and phishing and privacy is an issue that is beyond Discord in a lot of ways, but it's definitely top of mind for our safety teams and our safety programs to get a hold of, especially since a lot of people use our platform as their primary way of communicating. We want to keep it safe for you guys and for everyone who wants to use the platform, for sure. Great question.
Thank you. Great answer.
Thank you. Come on up.
Hi. I wanted to touch on what you discussed about people coming into the community and maybe getting a little overwhelmed. So we have a very tight-knit, small play-by-post role-play site that has a Discord for it. Our members get very excited when someone new joins. They want to help them build their character. But that can be very overwhelming for someone who's just come in. Do you have any suggestions for how to manage it so that people are still welcoming, they're still excited to help build a character, but maybe they're not like totally overwhelming people without discouraging the new members who just want to make a new friend?
What do you think?
I can take that. Yeah, I mean, thank you for the question and for considering that. I think that's really thoughtful. I would recommend kind of breaking it up. So maybe saying, having like a 3-step guide for your folks who are really excited. So be like, hey, when someone new, let's just make sure that we always say like, hey, how's your day going? Like, thanks for joining. Are you interested in making a character? If so, like, click on this link and it will take you to a channel. So then you get a signal from your new person that that's something that they actually want to. It gives them a chance to kind of opt in or opt out or say, what is that? Or maybe later. So I think if you could kind of create like a 1, 2, 3-step process that your mods could follow, and so they still get that greeting, they still get it, but they have more of like a playbook, and then you would get that signal from the new person that like, yeah, I'm down, like I have the time, let's do it right now, because you might discover there are maybe some other steps in between that they have to take first, if that's helpful.
Yeah. There's
Thank you.
also like, if you do have like an introductions channel too, it's also worth talking to your current community and saying like, hey guys, like, when somebody comes into introductions, let's like make them feel super welcome and happy to be here. But like, let's not immediately hop into like character creation yet. Maybe you have like designated people that reach out and say like, hey, can I help you do this thing? That way, you know, your team, you're not telling them like, stop stop being excited that people are here. Just say like, hey, we want to make like people are a little nervous, but yeah, you can talk with them and create that dialogue while still helping honor how excited they are to welcome someone to the community. And unfortunately, guys, I know we have a ton of other questions. I apologize. Come to the booth and talk to me. I have this green hat on. I will be there. But we are at time. And thank you guys so much for coming to the panel. We really appreciate you.